recession. Is it going to happen in 2019 at the end of the year, or 2020, the election year? I had talked to Steve Moore, who was one of President Trump's picks for the Federal Reserve many years ago. We had a one-on-one conversation about debt and the 2010 stimulus. You see, a lot of counties, municipalities, corporations took out huge long-term bonds, 10-year bonds. I think Obama elected 2008. Companies started gearing up for the electric car, the solar splurge, green energy. The loans were taken out 2009, 2010, they went online. A lot of the debt was accumulated between the end of 2009 and 2013. So here's the thing. A lot of those bonds that were used to give counties, cities, municipalities a lot of money for electric car chargers, that a lot were pulled out. About 70% were pulled out. Why were they pulled out when there's still electric cars on the road? Is because the percentages were way off, and the technology. You see, during that era, the green era, I'll call it the Green New Deal 1 era, there were 3 different types of ways to charge an electric car. There was the CHAdeMO, which worked on the Nissan and another, I think the Mitsubishi, and that was connected to the fraud that I whistleblew about with Carlos Ghosn, who's now in jail, but they haven't brought up that yet. Then there was the charger for the Chevrolet Volt, which they don't make anymore, and other cars. There were 2 different standards. There was like the J blah 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 and the CHAdeMO, and now Tesla has a charger. And you know, the good thing about Elon Musk is that he understands that there needs to be a universal charger. You see, the electric car was rolled out because people wanted America energy independent. But we had resources to be energy independent without the electric car, and that made us energy independent faster. And I think President Trump proved that, because using, you know, the resources that we have gotten in our lands and you know, okay, I get the environmental issues. I was sent to a trip and I got to see fracking in progress, and yes, fracking, I can see how it could hurt some waters, but at the same time, where there was fracking, there was wildlife, but there are earthquakes. So yeah, I kind of see the issue. I don't see it. I see it kind of in the middle. I think that energy independence is more important. I do believe that the waters are important too. So we have 2 things that we need to like focus in on. So both groups have an issue. Okay, I'm getting off track. The point is that $697 billion of bad debt is going into our system, and we're going to have a recession, because you can't just eat $697 billion of debt, because those bonds are now junk. And so these cities, counties, municipalities, corporations it gets written off, and the banks eat it, and then they pass on the charges to basically us. Yeah, it comes out of our 401k, it comes out of higher fees, it comes out of whatever. So the bad decisions made by the government are ultimately paid by us. So the people in your city council that voted for infrastructure, and that infrastructure proved to be a bust, and they removed it, they are taking money from you. Okay, this is why I'm kind of a libertarian, because I have seen green energy projects that work, and they're usually not federally funded. They're usually created by geniuses that can make it on their own. And I don't know. I'm very frustrated. I'm like a lot of America. I think that's why when I saw a lot of the data that was shown to me, and it turned out it was Obama data, because Obama has some of the best data, I predicted in October 23rd that Donald Trump would win. I was one of 30 people that saw the data that predicted that. And I even have an email that I sent to my broker at Fidelity to get my money out of the stock market because Donald Trump was going to win. And I was told there was going to be a Brexit reaction. And then I met with my broker and he said, you're wrong. There's no way Donald Trump's going to win. And besides, you got to invest in bonds because you got to put something in the market. So I agreed, and he wanted me to go bonds. I go, I'm not going bonds because I knew about the bond issue. But what I did was I put half my money into just the stock market, into this well-balanced portfolio, and then the other half I pulled out and bought real estate. Well, let me tell you, good move, because the stocks went, I had no money in bonds, and bonds went like, and now bonds are like, but they're going to go. So, the economy's crazy. And people know that we're going to get this mini recession. So then the Obama people do not want the mini recession. And I call it mini because you see President Trump is bringing so many jobs back to America. The recession, I was just told by a person that was on the Fed when the Obama administration, that because President Trump has brought so many jobs to America, the recession will not be as bad. It's going to be a mini recession. Some of the country, Florida, Virginia, North Carolina, Georgia, won't even feel the recession, okay? The recession is going to hurt the most in California, Illinois, and the states that just don't have their acts together. So now I'm trying to figure out what was, my point is that if this recession happens in October 2020, it would be done to target the president. But if Joe Biden is the candidate, the president can easily point the finger at Biden. If it happens in October 2020, and if the people in the working jobs that the stock market doesn't really matter to them because they've got pensions or they've got other, they're planning on Social Security for their retirement, which is not the best thing right now. But if those people, they're not going to be affected. The people affected are going to be the middle class and the upper middle class that rely on their 401k. So, and that could swing the election. And that is the only path for a communist socialist to win. A communist socialist could win.